I think self-care can be something that everyone's talking about. It's a bit of a fashion thing at the moment. Like, it's really in to be talking about self-care. And I think it can dull down the message of it if we all talk about it too much in a way that makes us assume something. And I think the kind of assuming of self-caring is that it's taking a massage or going on a retreat, or the kind of just really obvious things that are all brilliant to do, but actually self-care is something much deeper and bigger than that. Just a few tips really about self-care. It's a daily practice, it's a mindset, it's an attitude. It's about meeting your own need, being able to see that your needs being met have to be priority in order for you to therefore meet others and really meet them sustainably. You have to deal with the demon of it's selfish, or I don't have time, or I'm fine. Yeah, you are fine, but you're not self-caring, so you're not going to be fine. It's that kind of, those attitudes that just limit us and actually just limit our understanding of what self-care really means. You need to build a real resilience to life around you. We seem to be growing more sensitive, I think, as we get older, and more reactionary, and a lot of negative reactions out there to each other and to ourselves. And I think growing resilience is a really, really powerful tool, just to question your reaction as it's coming in and to flip it on its head and to give back something positive to yourself and to others. I've got 20 top tips for self-care. I've written them down, so just forgive me for reading a little bit. Check in with yourself regularly throughout a day. How you're doing, how you feeling, how you feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Just have that regular check. And when you note something, just question to yourself, well, how can I make that better? What can I change right now for that? Or what do I need to change later? And make a plan for it and actually make that change. Sleep's really important. Whatever it takes, build in better sleep. Pay the extra money for that decent mattress. Change the pillow. Have the fresh bed. Sometimes just changing our bed sheets can really help. My kids are up all night. Maybe if you self-care a bit more, maybe your kids might be a bit more settled. Maybe you could go to bed at the same time as your kids one night a week. There's always ways to improve sleep. A kind of weekly, if not twice a week, if luxury allows, but definitely weekly slot. That is your protected slot to do some activity that's about grounding you and giving you that time out, that mental time out. For me, it's yoga. I go once or twice a week where possible. Obviously, some weeks that's not possible. This week it's not possible. My husband's away. I couldn't get childcare. But you just have that one slot a week where it's where you can just stop, let it all out, let it all go, refocus, ground, off you go. It's also, I think, important if you've got a partner to allow them that once a week as well, where you shoulder things and you allow them that space, and so you're both meeting each other equally in that importance. I think it's really important to connect with friends, good friends that you can really be yourself with. And I think not enough of that happens with people. I think we say, they're too far away, or we've got too much in, or you fill your diary up with other things that seem and feel important, because they potentially are good things, but actually having time with really good friends is really important. It's really important for your self-care. And so get that regular face-to-face with those close people. And I don't believe anyone has loads of them in their life. I think the older you get, the smaller those friendships become. And, where you can, book that in and try and see those friends. Get outside as often as you can. There's something deeply healing and restorative about fresh air, the ocean, woodland, hills. Some people find it in cities, I don't. I find cities very draining and toxic. I like to be in them for a short blast and then I really need to get out. And I think actually my real belief is that everyone who lives in a city needs to get out of it regularly to self-care. Just push that aside for a bit. It's just about being outside in the fresh air, on your feet. I think it's really important to celebrate achievements, no matter how small they are, for yourself. If you're feeling really, really, really crap, but you got out of bed and you went to work, celebrate that. You know, if you're feeling anxious and you managed to get through a meeting without having a panic attack, if that's your thing, celebrate it. Or if you do really well in an exam, or you get the job, or, you know, the bigger celebrations, celebrate them. Mark all the celebrations internally and externally that you can to self-care. Let go of perfectionism. Being perfect isn't possible. And I personally believe those that look perfect, they end up actually looking pretty ugly, because it's just striving for the wrong things in the wrong places. Having an activity in your life on a fairly regular basis, that is something that really makes you kind of connect with that child inside you. It really connects you with the fun part of life. It reignites passion. That can be absolutely anything for anyone. I drove past someone the other day, small group, but they were in medieval clothes reenacting some medieval fighting scenes. And I really did laugh, because for me that would be so not what I would want to ever engage with. But then I laughed and I thought, good for them, you know. And I had talking to the kids about it. I was like, good for them. That's what rekindles passion in them. That's what they enjoy. That's what they find fun. And so that's fantastic, you know, they're doing that. Just because it's not for me, my thing would be completely different. So just have that fun, have that time out. Again, it's something that we say we're too busy for. Well, blink an egg. It's all a choice. Just make the choice. It doesn't have to come down to money. And time can be found if you rearrange your diary, your priorities and your choices. I think it's a massive thing to release the comparison to others, to release any kind of insignificance or insecurity you have with other people. Just let go of that. Let them live their lives, you live yours. Don't worry about what they're up to, what they look like, what they've got, what they haven't got. To let go of all of that. Self-care by just saying, this is just me and I'm enough. And be grateful for what you've got. That's the next thing, we're actually counting your blessings, being really aware of the amazing things in your life. No matter how small they may seem, celebrate them as equally important and valued and valuable. We've got a jar at home. It's a big tin actually. And every time we've had a really good experience or thought or a feeling, you know, we write it down and we put it in the jar, and at some time during the year we just pull them out and we read them to each other. Sometimes I see my girls in there reading them when they're feeling a bit down, and they just go and read the jar, which is great. Have a little date night with yourself. It doesn't have to be weekly. I appreciate, for me that's impossible, but fortnightly, have a little date with yourself. It's good to allow your partner this as well, where you both get to do something on your own that's about celebrating you. My husband will go off on his motorbike for a drive, or he'll go climbing, rock climbing, or he'll go mountain biking. For me, it's sitting by a fire, either in the hot tub, or sometimes it's as simple as getting in a long bath and locking the door so no one can come in and chat to me, or get in my bath while I'm having a bath. I don't mind that mostly, but when it's my date night, it's about me. I love reading and I never get to read. So reading, eating seafood, another big one, or being cooked for is a really great thing for me. The next one would be to have a good ability, a good understanding of proper breathing, deep breathing. And there's lots of workshops all over the country about learning how to breathe. You can go to yoga classes and they'll teach you how to breathe. Not all of them. Some of them don't even focus on breathing at all. So just look out for the right ones. But I know there's a workshop coming up, I think it's just passed actually, at my yoga studios this last weekend, where there was a whole afternoon on learning how to breathe properly. It's amazing for all sorts, for health, for mindfulness. It's just helping your blood supply, just loads of benefits to breathing properly. And actually we tend to breathe very shallowly in our culture, sitting at a desk or being still quite a lot and not engaging a lot with our mind, body and soul, having that disconnect. We disconnect from our breath and we kind of go into real shallow breathing, and actually we're talking about deep, rhythmical breathing. It's amazing. Forgive yourself, regularly forgive yourself for mucking up, making a mistake, not being as best as you could be. Just forgive yourself, just let it go. You can be your harshest judge and you can be your best lover. Well, choose the latter and just forgive yourself for the things that we do that are just everyday human error. Forgive yourself, recognise it, repent from it, rebuke it, replace it. Easy, move it on. Have something in your calendar, in your diary, that's coming up, every 3 to 4 months that you're really looking forward to. A treat, time with someone special, whatever that might be. Again, it doesn't have to cost money, but book it in the diary, 3 to 4 months. Always have something that you're looking forward to. Ask for help. whatever that might look like, with a friend, or try counselling, or try some therapy, and there's a whole host of different therapies and counsellors, and there's different varieties, and some good and some not good. You know, ask for help. Don't just bumble on. Stop, take the time, get the help. And then bumbling doesn't happen, but living does. Choose your food really mindfully and be really conscious about what you're putting into your body. I'm really new to the effects of meat. I haven't eaten meat for several years, not regularly anyway, and now I'll only eat meat where I can guarantee it's had a good, happy, wholesome life, and the whole process has been something that I would be happy with. So I rarely eat meat because that's very rare to come across. And so actually, not just meat, but just the whole of your diet, you know, be conscious about it. What you're putting into your body has a huge effect on your mind, body and soul. It can sustain you or it can seriously harm you. So that's a real self-care, is to think about what you put into your body, food and drink-wise. Exercise, move your body as much as you can. Moving your body is just a really powerful way of boosting your serotonin. You know, serotonin in your brain, the natural chemical about how you feel good, how you deal with stuff. Give it a natural booster, get off your ass, you know. And all these excuses, there's something you can do in any situation. There really is. Give me a challenge. If you think I can't find an answer, I'll find you one. Learn how to say no. Saying no, but saying it gracefully and saying it in love. We take on too much. We don't say no often enough. No is not a negative necessarily. It can really be a self-care tool to look around at what needs to be a no and to start practicing no. And you can even, you know, if you find it difficult, just say, I'm finding this really difficult. I feel actually sick to say this, but it's a no. And I need to say that for my own self-care. You know, you can spit all that out. After a while, you'll learn you don't need to say all that. You just gracefully say, no, thank you for asking, but not this time. Or I can't do that on this occasion. I think this is a really important, I mean, they're all important, but this is a really important one for me in particular, is to set goals, set your intention, have targets. What are you working towards individually, as a family, as a team, you know, at work, whatever. What are your goals? Where are you going? Where are you headed? I'm quite a high fire personality, so I like that direction. But if you're just bumbling, I think bumbling is okay for a very short season. I think being intentional, knowing where you're going, is actually much better self-care, much healthier all round. And I think the lastly is being able to stop, and when you need to take time out, that you allow that. I'm probably not very good at this one. I realise at the moment that I need a morning in bed, and I really do. I really need a morning to sleep, or at least I need to sleep twice as long as I am and have a few nights of catch up. And I find that very hard to do that. I find it very hard to take time out. So what else can I do? So I've been taking 5 minutes out and just stopping and just doing 5 minutes of deep breathing, or my colleague walks around the block and takes time out and just walks and gets some fresh air. So these are all brilliant ways to just stop, recognise that you need a break, and that you just pause and you stop moving forward and you just are in the moment. It's fantastic, mindfulness. And don't feel guilty about it. Feel actually empowered by taking that step for yourself. So they're my 20 top tips for self-care. I hope that you are working on them, and I'm up for supporting anyone that needs any help with them. Bye.